Alrighty. Today we're looking at the second set of notes for Unit 7. This one's involving the interior angles of a polygon. So this is part of our 3-note set for Unit 7. The first set of notes really looked at the whole of polygons and sort of discussed broadly what these angles look like. These notes only discuss interior angles, and we're learning a couple formulas. The next set of notes are going to involve the exterior angles, and they're going to actually be pretty easier than the rest of this stuff. So let's dive on in. So, what are interior angles? I think you know it pretty well by now. It's almost something that's easier to see than to look at. I'm going to go ahead and draw a pentagon here if my lead doesn't break. I got a pentagon. It's a 5-sided shape. I know my picture doesn't look great. Now, this pentagon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interior angles. This is going to be a regular polygon, so it has regular sides as well. Those interior angles are the angles inside a polygon. Okay, simple as that. Now, before, when we actually did our table, we figured out we went from the number of sides to the number of triangles, which we multiplied by 180 to get the sum of angles. Now, that was a 2-step process. This time we can do it in 1 step. And that's going to be with this formula, n minus 2 times 180. Okay, so what's happening here is this n minus 2 is giving us the number of triangles. I can draw the symbol. The number of triangles as being multiplied by 180 to give us the sum of interior angles. That's what this formula is the sum of interior angles. Now, what is n? N is going to be our number of sides. So we take our number of sides, we subtract it by 2, and we multiply by 180. That's the exact same process as up here, but now it's just one simple formula. Okay, we can do that to actually find the sum of angles for this 20-sided polygon. I'm going to set n equal to 20. Okay, so we have 20 minus 2 times 180. Okay, 20 minus 2 is going to be 18. Then 18 times 180 is going to be, let's find out, 3240. So the sum of interior angles equals 3240. All we did was we subtracted 2 and multiplied by 180. Okay, let's look at B, and we'll look a little bit at C as well. Okay, so there really aren't a whole lot of questions that are going to ask you just to find the sum of interior angles. We're typically going to do stuff with that. So we need to figure out what the value of x is for this quadrilateral, and then ultimately find what each interior angle is. So we're going to use our formula to find the sum. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. N equals 4. I'm going to do 4 minus 2 times 180. Okay. Now from there, I'm going to end up with 2 times 180. And that's going to give me 360. Okay. So this shape, this quadrilateral, the sum of its interior angles is going to be 360 degrees, which I'm going to write in the center of my polygon to represent that. So all 4 angles are going to add up to 360. Okay, so if all 4 angles add up to 360, then I can say that 360 equals all 4 angles. I'm going to write an equal sign. I'm going to write my 360. Then I know that this plus that plus that plus that, all 4 of them together equals 360. So both of these squares are 90 degrees. And I end up with 3x plus 90 plus 90 is going to equal 360. So I end up with 4x. I end up with 90 plus 90 is going to be 180 equals 360. I subtract my 180 from both sides. I end up with 4x equals 180. And I find out that x is going to equal 45. Now I'm not quite done because I still need to actually plug these in for x. So I know here I'm going to plug this in for x and it's going to be 45 degrees. Up here I do 3 times 45, and that'll be 135 degrees. And now I'm done. Okay, I'd like you to try C yourself. You're going to do the same process. So you're going to take the interior angle formula, the sum formula, figure out what the sum of angles inside of this is. Then you're going to set it equal to all of the angles and find out the value of x. Okay, so pause, try it out, and I'll show you the work in a second. Great. So this is a 6-sided figure. So n equals 6. I have 6 minus 2 times 180. I end up with a 4 times 180, or simply 720. The sum of angles here is 720 degrees. Okay, so all 6 of these are going to add up and equal to 720. Now, I could really write x plus 2 plus x minus 4 plus x plus 6, yada, 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 but that sounds like a lot of work. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and collect my x's and my numbers all at the start. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's, so I have 6x. Then I have plus 2 minus 4 plus 6 minus 3 plus 7 minus 8. If you put all that in the calculator, it's going to end up being plus 0. So that's going to ultimately go away. And I have 6x equals 720. So I'm going to divide 6 by both sides. I have x equals, let's find that out, 120. The value of x here is 120. But each angle is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to plug in x here for a, and I get 122. I'm going to do the same process for all the rest. 120 minus 18 minus 8 is going to be 112. 120 plus 7 is going to be 127. 120 plus d minus 3 is going to be 117, and so on. Giving you these answers. Okay, let's go ahead and flip to the back. So on the front, we looked at the sum formula. On the back, we're going to look at the formula for one interior angle. This formula is very similar. So if you remember, to get the measure of one interior angle for a regular polygon, you just divided the sum by n. That's exactly what we're going to do. Our sum formula was n minus 2 times 180. And to get one interior angle, we divide by n. This equals the measure of one interior angle. This formula, n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Okay, with all that established, let's find the measure of one interior angle of a dodecagon. So a dodecagon is 12-sided, so n equals 12. We're going to go ahead and say that 12 minus 2 times 180 divided by 12. Okay, we end up with 10 times 180 over 12, or 1800 over 12, which is going to be 150. Each interior angle equals 150 degrees. So all we're doing is we're taking the sum formula and dividing it by the number of sides. Go ahead and try E and give it a shot yourself. So n equals 20. I'm going to write 20 minus 2 times 180 over 20. I end up with 18 times 180 over 20. That's going to be, what's 18 times 180? That's going to be 3240 over 20. And when we divide that by 20, we get 162. Awesome. Which takes us to F. One interior angle of a regular polygon measures 156. How many sides does that polygon have? Well, what do we know? We know what one angle is, but we don't know n. Our n is blank. We still know we're looking at one angle, so we're going to use the same formula, n minus 2 times 180 over n. But we know that it's going to equal 156. To get our answer, we have to solve for n. Okay, so we're dividing by n here. To move it to the other side, we're going to have to multiply, do the opposite. So I'm going to multiply n by both sides. And I end up with n minus 2 times 180 equals 156 n. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute my 180 into my parentheses. I end up with 180n minus 360 equals 156n. Okay, I'm going to subtract 180 from both sides. And that's going to give me negative 360 equals 156 minus 180. Or negative 24n. We're almost done. I divide both sides by negative 24, giving us 360 divided by 24, or 15. 15 equals n, which means I have 15 sides. Okay, so that might have been a little bit of work, but we got to an answer. I want you to try G. If you didn't know how to do my work, that's fine. I'm going to show you a trick, but I want you to try it the best you can yourself. You can copy my work as you need to. So pause and give it a shot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same setup. I have n minus 2, 180 over n, but this time it equals 165.6. Now in this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and skip to this step right here. So what you might have noticed when you did your own work is no matter what, we're always going to end up with 180n minus 360 equals some number times n. That's because when we unravel this whole thing, it's going to work out that way. This number here is going to change to whatever our angle is, but everything else is going to stay the same. So because the process is the same, I can go ahead and skip down to 180 n minus 360 equals 165.6 n. So I skipped multiplying both sides and distributing because both of those are always going to work out the same way, giving us this situation. Okay. Well, once I'm here, I can subtract 180n from both sides. And negative 360 is going to equal 14.4. Negative 14.4n. From here, I divide both sides by negative 14.4. Giving us 25 equals n. We have a polygon that has 25 sides, giving us our answer. So, as always, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.